Good morning, second English students. We will continue this book Indian Mythology by Devdutt Pattanaik. Okay, so as I already said, this book is completely celebrating Hindu religion and Hinduism. What do you mean by Hindu religion? Hindu, the word Hinduism, everything is what we are going to learn. Okay. So our paper is title of the paper is Indian culture through literature. Okay, so Indian culture is actually predominantly Hinduism, and this book is focused on. Actually, this book is a kind of reform book in Hindu religion. Okay, so we need to reform Hindu religion, and how we can reform Hindu religion only by knowing it. Okay, so this is the thing, and now we will continue. Actually, the introduction part of it. Okay, there are 4 chapters in this book, and still we are yet to begin the first chapter. And there is some introduction, and we will learn what is given in the introduction. So this point is already, this one particular point is already given in the previous video. From that point we will continue. That is Hindu, the word Hindu became umbrella term for all South Asian religions. Okay, so all the, today the word Hindu refers to, that has become an umbrella term for all the South Asian religions. So not only India, all the South Asian religions, Hindu, the word Hindu is referred. And now Brahminism is a sub-religion, and in Hinduism this is also covered. So now we will discuss Brahminism. So what is that sub-religion? So Brahminical text is classified into 2. Okay, Brahminical, the point is Brahminical text is classified into 2. One is Vedas, second one is Shastra. S-H-A-S-T-R-A. Vedas and Shastra. Veda emphasis monotheism. It is a large philosophy. Okay. That is, it has many philosophies. Veda emphasis monotheism, and it emphasizes lots of philosophies. Second one, Shastra. Shastra encourages idol worship. It is ritual and social custom. Okay, so Shastra is idol worship, social custom and ritual. Okay, so Brahmin is sub-religion of Hinduism. So in Brahmin we have 2 classification. One is Vedas and Shastra. So Veda emphasizes monotheism, and it has many philosophies, and Shastra is idol worship, social custom and ritual. Okay, and apart from the Brahmin sub-religion, we have other gods and other belief and other way of life. Okay, this is the next point. Apart from Brahmin sub-religion, we have other gods and other belief and other ways of life. And apart from Vedas, the Shastra and other god and other belief, the spiritual tradition is lacking. Okay, Veda emphasizes spirituality, and but Vedas, there is no idol worship and God has no form, but Shastra has various form, and in Shastra only we have Vishnu, Shiva and Brahma, but actually Veda emphasizes monotheism and no idol worship, and we have other gods, and Shastra and other gods and other way of life, they lack spiritual tradition. Okay, and the educated people in those days emphasized Vedas, and those who follow especially those who follow other gods and other religions, were considered to be lower position even in those days. Okay, and today, if we have, if you follow Vedas and if you follow your family deity, you are inferior, and we ourselves should not have any. This point is given in the book. The author himself says this point, therefore you have to mention. So we ourselves should not say that Veda is higher one, Vishnu is higher one, Shiva is higher one, family deity is lower one. We Indians ourselves should not make such kind of wrong judgments, and even the Europeans and other people also, we should not allow them to do such kind of wrong judgments. We ourselves should not make such wrong judgments, and we should not allow others also to do such wrong judgments. That is, praying this God is inferior one, praying this God makes you a superior one. Okay, and even in history such kind of discrimination was there, but this discrimination, if you pray your family deity or your own God, you are inferior one. Such kind of ideas are there, such kind of ideas were prevalent, but it exemplified and exaggerated during the British rule. Okay, and they purposefully made us to forget our history and knowledge. Okay, and when there was British rule, Brahmins were the first to get the Western education. Okay, Brahmins were the first to get the Western education. It is actually Brahmins who supported Western education, and they supported the Okay, as he sees this vision, the vision of Lord Vishnu, for a believer, if he sees vision of Vishnu, it is enriching one and empowering one. Okay, and he is the rhythm of cosmos, and he destroys negativity. Okay, he is the rhythm of cosmos and he destroys negativity. When dharma is under threat, he incarnates those who he incarnates and he destroys the people who violates dharma. Okay, so when dharma is under threat, he incarnates and kill the people who violate dharma. Okay, and this is given in the book, and let me tell generally about the book. See, the title of the unit is Unit 5 is short stories, and in the book there are many short stories. Okay, and these short stories you have to read, and the short stories, see, the font size is different. Okay, so in the camera and the selfie camera, the words may not be visible. So it doesn't matter. See, Renuka, if you open at page 17, the title of the short story is Renuka's Infidelity. Okay, that short story you have to read. Okay, and I will narrate this short story in Tamil, but you need not write the summary of the short story, because there are hundreds of short stories are there. Okay, in the book such kind of short stories are there, more than hundreds of short stories are there. And the short story is in simplified version. If you read it, you can easily understand it. And the short story itself in the shortest form. There is no need for you to summary. Just you read it. Okay. And I narrate the story in Tamil, and you need not to write it as a part of assignment. Okay. And at the same time, you open the book and read the short story. Okay, so this book is full of such kind of myths. The short story is nothing but their myth, and the title of the book is Indian Mythology, that is Hinduism, and it has lots and lots of more than hundreds of short stories are there. Okay, but the other points you have to write, but you just listen to the short story and you read it. Okay, and now I ask Pananya, you read it. All of you must read this short story. You must read the whole book also. And the point is, the short story, summary of the short story you need not write, and you just listen in Tamil and you read it. But other points you have to write. Okay, so Pananya say narrate the story in Tamil. You just skip the video and you read it. Okay. So now, what is the first short story about Lord Vishnu? Vishnu and Earth Cow. If you open at page 8, this is the story. The earth வந்து cow பசுமாடா இருக்குது. ஓகே, அண்ட் அந்த எர்த்தில் அந்த பூமியில இருக்கிறவங்க வந்து அதர்மத்தை வந்து பின்பற்றுறதுனால அந்த எர்த்து என்ற அந்த பசுமாடு, அந்த அடர், ஓகே, அந்த மடியில வந்து நிறைய காயங்கள் புண்ணாகுது. ஓகே, ஸோ அந்த எர்த்துன்ற அந்த பசுமாடு பிரம்மா கிட்ட வந்து ஹெல்ப் கேட்குது. பிரம்மா வந்து என்னால் ஹெல்ப் பண்ண முடியாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நீ விஷ்ணு கிட்ட போ அப்படின்னு உடனே விஷ்ணு கிட்ட அந்த எர்த் பசுமாடு வந்து போகுது. உடனே நான் வந்து உனக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்றேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அண்ட் அவதாரம் எடுக்க இன்கார்னேட் பண்ணி அண்ட் கிருஷ்ணர் அண்ட் ராமர் அந்த மாதிரி அவதாரம் எடுத்து அந்த அநீதிகளை வந்து அதர்மத்தை ஃபாலோ பண்றவங்க எல்லாம் கொண்டு அண்ட் எர்த் பசுமாட்டை வந்து காப்பாத்துறாரு. ஓகே, ஸோ for this reason only Lord Vishnu incarnates he borns the human being in earth and protects the earth. Okay, and so okay, at this point you have to mention earth. The cow symbolizes as earth, and it is our duty to protect the earth. Each and every individual duty to protect the earth. We simply cannot exploit our earth just like that. It is adharma. Okay. So it is our duty. All of us should protect earth. Okay. And so as the cow symbolizes earth, it should be worshipped. Okay. And we as Hindus should have a belief that a cow represents the earth, and as we protect cows and as we worship cows, and we indirectly protect earth. Okay, and that's why cows should be worshipped. And as cows symbolize earth, beef should not be eaten. Okay, beef is prohibited. Okay, and we have to support. We as Hindus should follow vegetarian. Okay, so those who worship Vishnu should follow vegetarian, and they have to worship cow and beef. They cannot eat beef. Okay, so that's all about Lord Vishnu. And now the next topic is myth and mythology. Okay, so what do you mean by myth and mythology? So myth is a sacred belief as well as stories. Myth is sacred belief and stories inherited over generations. Myth is a sacred belief and stories inherited over generations. Okay, and so it is not literature. Mahabharata and Ramayana is considered to be literature, and let's say Bible is actually not literature. Though many people consider Bible as let's say literature, it has the quality of a literature, but Bible is actually a sacred book followed by the Christians. Okay, and all the the stories. Bible is not myth. Why Bible is not myth? Because Christians follow only the stories given in the Bible. There are many stories in the Bible. Okay, but myth is not like that. It is not given in the sacred book. Okay, it is a story followed over generation after generation, a belief and a ritual. It is not given in the book. Okay, why do you apply ashes on your forehead? It is a tradition and it is a belief, and we do not know the real reason for it, and now we have to find out the reason for it, and that is called Renaissance. These things are apart, but you have to worship God in this way, and you should use banana and betel leaf. Such kind of thing, such kind of beliefs are not given in the book or anywhere else. It is followed over generations. My father said it, and I am following it, and I will tell to my sons and daughters. Okay, that's how myth is followed. and for some people it is absurd and irrational. If one believes it, then it becomes a sacred thing. Okay, so as we talk about myth, first of all, whether you really believe it or not, it doesn't matter. For a time being, you have to suspend the disbelief so that you can know more about myth. Okay. So as I said, Vishnu, what is this? This seems to be nonsensical. Okay, you have the right to say such kind of statements, but the problem, for a time being, you just have you just suspend the disbelief, and then slowly and steadily you will appreciate the myth. Okay. Whether what is there in the myth or not, we have to, if you want to analyze it, first of all, you have to suspend the disbelief. For time being, okay, this is what Vishnu, this is what Hinduism is. If you have this mentality only, we will be able to analyze myth. Okay, so that's what Devdutt Pattanaik says. So have suspend the disbelief so that we can understand myth in a proper way. Okay. And see, the image of Ganesha, for a disbeliever, this image is funny. Lord, he is such a fat man, and he has a pot belly, and his head is elephant head, and does this image seems to be aesthetically pleasing, or does this image is beautiful one? Definitely, for most of the people, this image is not going to be a beautiful one. But for a believer, the elephant head symbolizes the unstoppable power. The elephant head symbolizes the unstoppable power. The pot belly symbolizes prosperity. A rat is his vehicle, and rat symbolizes protection. Okay. The pot belly symbolizes prosperity. The elephant head symbolizes unstoppable power. It seems to be a believable one. I personally accept. Yes, elephant head symbolizes unstoppable power. Pot belly symbolizes prosperity, and I do not know how rat symbolizes protection. But rat, actually rat, we don't like rats, and we want to kill rat, but how rat protects us, that I do not know. If we say a cow protects us, then okay, yes, it gives milk and it is good for our health, but I do not know how rat protects us. So okay, this is my personal opinion. We shall leave it. But for a believer, rat symbolizes protection. Okay. And when we say his name, before doing any activity, okay, or before doing any activity, if we utter Ganesha, if we utter the word Ganesha, we actually unite with the cosmos. Okay, before involving in any activity, we have to say the word Ganesha, then we unite with the cosmos, that is universe. Cosmos means universe. Okay, and this statement could be easily disapproved. This point is given by Pattanaik, not my personal point. This statement could be easily disapproved. Okay, scientifically, if you say the word Ganesha and do your activity, there is no use in it. Okay, scientifically this could be easily proved. Okay, but we shall have a belief that if we say the word Ganesha, we actually unite with the cosmos. Okay, and the next point, Devdutt Pattanaik says, there are actually many differences between science and the myth. Okay. Myth is about understanding the world through culture. Myth is understanding the world through culture. Science tell about the world and the universe. Science tell about the world and the universe. Myth needs faith. Science needs proof. Okay. Myth needs faith. Science needs proof. Okay. When we apply scientific principles to myth, then it is called mythology. Okay, so what do you mean by mythology? When we apply scientific principles to myth, it is called mythology. Okay, so though myth and science are completely contradictory one, see, myth needs faith, but science needs proof. And myth talks about the culture and belief, but science talks about world and universe. Okay, so when we combine together, so why do we follow this ritual? Why do we do it? Okay, when we have to find out the reason, and that is our responsibility. Okay, then only without knowing the value, without knowing the value of tradition, we simply blindly, if we follow the tradition, it is not good for us. Okay, so why do we follow it? We ourselves should know everything. Okay, I mean, this is my personal example. So in those days, women should always be inside in the home. Okay, why? Because they have the problem of menses, and so in those days, animals can easily catch them with that smell, with the smell of blood. So it is better women. It is better that it is good that women should be in the home itself. Okay, but today when we have these advanced scientific discoveries and technology, there is no need for it. Okay, when it is a tradition in those days, when we found out the reason for it, there is no need for us to follow that tradition. So women should go out, and they themselves can work hard. They can go anywhere. Okay, so in those days that is good. In the modern time, it is not good for us. Okay, so these traditions are good for us. These traditions are not good for us. We cannot simply ignore all the tradition. Okay, so we have to analyze, do research on it, and this is what the book is. Okay, so therefore we need to study about mythology, and the mythology involves comparison of myths. Okay, we need to compare myth, what is said in Bible and what is said in Bhagavad Gita and our lifestyle. And the second point, what mythology involves, the study. Mythology involves the study about how myths transform. So how myths transform from one age to another age. And third point, mythology involves the discovery and communication. What are all the things which makes a thing a sacred one? We need to discover and communicate what makes a thing sacred one. Okay, so mythology involves 3 points. The first point, comparison of myth, and the second point, how myths are transformed from one age to another age, and the third point, to discover and communicate what makes a thing sacred. Okay, so now science questions everything. Okay, this thing is there in all the cultures. When they have their own religion, their own God, at one point everything is put under question. in Greek civilization, Socrates he questioned everything, and many Greek philosophers questioned everything. Okay, such things are there, but let's say it is based on belief, and it should not. Everything cannot be questioned. Okay, so so everything cannot be questioned. We shall have a kind of belief. Okay, so now how the next is the next important topic. The moving to next topic, expression of myths. Okay, how the myths are expressed. Expression of myths. The communal belief are bound through myths. Okay, through myths only we have the community, and okay, we are all Hindus. Okay, because I have a belief on one thing and you have a belief on one thing, and we join together, we create myth, and the myth is passed on from one generation to another generation. And how the myths are passed from one generation to another generation. Okay, so how the myths are passed on from one generation to another generation. Father Devdutt Patana gives one example. See, baptism in Christianity, there is baptism, there is the cross symbol, and when a Christian follow baptism and cross symbol, and yes, you also follow baptism, you also wear a cross symbol. Therefore, you are Christian. Okay, we will unite together. Okay, so such things are happening. Okay, so when I apply ash on my forehead, and if I see another person applying ash on his forehead, yes, you are a Hindu. We will join together. Okay, by these symbols and by this way of symbols and rituals, we can that's how myths are followed. That's how myths are constructed. Okay, so how the myths are expressed, how the myths are passed from one generation to generation, another generation. It is by three things. Okay, so by three things, by three avenues, A, B, E, and U, E. By three avenues, the myths are expressed. Okay, so by three avenues, the myths are expressed. The first one is narratives, second one is symbols, and third one is rituals. Okay, first one is narrative, second one is symbols, and third one is rituals. So by three avenues, narrative, symbols, and the rituals, the myths are passed on from one generation to another generation. Okay, let me stop here, and we shall continue in the next video. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.